somebody, bringing up the economic stuff, and I was going to kind of save this till later to make a more interesting series of videos, but you asked a really good question was, how does somebody with, like, no money start prepping? Like, how do you put food away when you can't afford it? Now, well, I guess, in simple, I mean, there is no simple answer, really. You just start doing it. I mean, you're going to buy groceries no matter what. Okay, you're gonna buy whatever you eat. You're gonna buy. You're gonna buy that food all the time. But maybe instead of just buying, really fast perishable foods, split it up a bit. Maybe buy probably saying what's in there. Kind of forget, to tell you the truth. And if you really want to make it interesting, take all the labels off. Just don't mix it up with the dog food. What do we have tonight? I don't know. I can. Like, all kidding aside, but I mean, stuff like this. I mean, this might not last you 25 years. Might not even last you 2 years. But as long as it's good for at least a year, And if you have enough of these ahead, times XYZ amount of people in the house, you're probably saying, yeah, but I can't afford to buy, let's say you have a family of 6 people or 5 people. I can't afford to buy enough food for all of them. Well, if you have 1 can and you are 1 person, you have a meal for 1 person. If you are 1 can and you have 6 people or 5 people or 8 people, and make no mistakes, if you in a financial collapse, you're going to find out about relatives you never had. They're coming to your place saying, hey, help me out. You're going to have, then this will be divided up amongst the people in the house. What you have is what you have. It is really that. That's what it is. That's what it is. So, because, like anything, anybody that tries to give you an exact date and time, on stuff, you got to take that with a grain of salt. I mean, I say don't panic about it. Buy a can this week. If that's all you can afford extra, you buy 1 can. And you do this each week, or however you buy your groceries. So, let's say you buy 10 cans. Well, 1 can goes into storage, or 2 cans. It's whatever you prioritize. But where do you start? That's the thing. Where do you start? Well, you just, I guess, to tell you the truth, a lot of people will get it, discover like WROL, without rule of law, and SHTF. Crap hits the fan, and they start looking into it, and then they start looking at what's really going on around the world and realize that we're just as vulnerable as anybody else. I'm in Canada, and, trust me. You probably say, yeah, but you got lots of farmland up there, good growing. Yeah, but we can only grow food for like 4 months out of the year. Plants don't grow good in the snow. You know what I'm saying? So, we're just as vulnerable up here as anywhere else in the world. But I think what the point is about prepping is that it's not oh my God, I have to have a gun, 10,000 rounds of ammunition, some 5 knife and combat skills, 16,000 pounds of cans of food. It doesn't work like that. It's a lifestyle. You're prepping. Prepping is a continuous state. It's something that you're always doing. I'm still kind of in the early stages of it myself. What I'm more trying to learn is, what can you eat in the wild? And I'm not talking about hunting all the time, because if you're a hunter, trust me, you understand that you can go out in the bush with the best equipment and not see a thing for weeks on end. That can happen. Or you can walk, right out your door and there's a deer broadside to you saying, hey, yeah, take your best shot, That can happen too. But, to give you an idea, I'm a trapper by trade. I grew up around hunters. I'm nearly 40 years old, and I just shot my first deer last year. It was all legal and everything like that, but not that I didn't have a lot of chances to shoot other bucks, but to get the clean shot, all that stuff. Now, on a doomsday, I probably wouldn't be quite so selective, but then again, that's when you have to be. For example, I know what people are going to do in a doomsday that are going to go out hunting. Particularly down in the States, not so much up here in Canada, because most people don't have handguns. This is my BB gun. I have to state that just so I don't, in case the RCMP or whatever monitoring, on safe storage, but it's just a BB gun. I'm going to take a 9mm, I'm going to go knock down a moose. Would a 9mm kill a moose? I have no doubt it would kill a moose. But that moose might run for like 10 clicks or 6 miles before you find him, if you find him. And you still have the other problem of territory. If you're in the city, okay, hunting is not really an option for you. You think you can just jump into the countryside and go hunting? No. Every hunting season, okay, just to give you an idea, every hunting season, we have this problem where people cross onto our property, everybody has this problem. It's like you get people that come up from the city, want to go hunting, they see an open field, oh yeah, and I'll just hunt here. But it's private property. And trust me, people get mad when they catch somebody hunting on their private property. Now, what actions do they normally take? They usually call the game wardens, and they slap them with a fine or whatever. In a WROL or a doomsday or a financial collapse, when you can't get food, when you shoot the king's deer, you become the menu. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making threats. I'm just saying that's what people are going to do. They're going to be extremely territorial. And then you're going to have your guy that's going to try to profit off of this. He's going to go out and shoot like 10, 12, 20 does or whatever, try to sell it, and all that meat's going to go mad. And then that guy's going to end up getting killed because it's like now nobody can eat. And the deer will disappear very quickly. Very, very quickly. Trapping is another source. Now, I've seen all these survival traps out there, the deadfalls and stuff like that. It's so unrealistic, You have to understand man versus wild, and Survivor Man and stuff like that. That stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong. It can work, but the idea behind it is you're about to die if you're using those methods. That's what I'm telling you. And your chances of survival are like next to none. Even with professional traps, and I'm arguably a professional trapper. Even with professional traps, you don't catch something every day. Maybe in the nicer weather you might catch a little bit more, but then you actually have to monitor your traps, because if you wait, let's say you're the type of person that sleeps in till mid-afternoon. Okay, I like to sleep in too, but if I sleep in the middle of January and I got something in my trap, even if I want to eat it, don't matter. It's frozen when I get there, and or almost frozen. Middle of July, like now, 20 minutes after that thing's captured, if you don't gut it, the meat spoils, and then you can't eat it. It becomes toxic. So it's not that cut and dry and easy. Trust me, this is the easy way. The other thing you can do is can your own stuff. If you really want to keep it cheap, if you have access to a stove, you can burn out a stove very easily. So you got to be careful when you're canning, just because you got to boil the stuff so long. But that's one of the best ways. Just go and buy some vegetables, by the pound, and then can them. It's probably cheaper than that. Sometimes it's not, but you tend to get a little bit more when you buy the produce, But then it keeps longer. So even if it doesn't last for 10 years, if you're constantly doing, let's say you can this yourself, and you put 2012, today's date is the 18th of July, okay? So next week you do another one, or 2 more, 10 more, or whatever, and you go and you go and you go. And then at the 1 year mark, you eat this can, because it's still safe to eat at that point. And then you just keep cycling them. Again, prepping is about a lifestyle process. For me, I'm the type of guy, I'll make do with whatever I got to make do with. To me, a power outage is something that, I'm in a trailer, right? So, I don't have power. My folks have power at the house there, but, and of course I use that, but, I'm used to wood heat. I'm used to that kind of stuff. I'm not living backwoods in the sense that I'm not without power. Obviously I have power because I'm, the camera, all that stuff. But I can do without, and I don't panic when the power goes out here. I know how to sterilize water. What I say is, when you're prepping, start at a camping level. Start at the bushcraft level, because if you can do bushcraft in the bush, and I'll say it like the crocodile in the bush, with my thick Australian accent. Bush. I don't know if I did Australian accent. Probably an insulting one. Sorry, but anyway, if you can do that in the bush, then you're going to have no problem, doing that in the city. Problem is to bug out or to stay. Well, that becomes another issue. And I'm not going to touch it all in one night, but for those who want to start prepping, you just simply, you're more prepared than what you think. All you have to do is go through your cupboards. And then it's about organizing and then just maintaining that organization. It's like, okay, I got to get a gun and I got to have 10,000 rounds of ammo. 10,000 rounds of ammo. Well, the gun issue, a lot of people focus a lot on guns, but guns are, I'm very pro-gun, obviously. Guns are cool. Guns are fun. But in a doomsday, I don't think you're going to be using this too much. I think you're going to have to worry more about the most precious thing that you're going to have to worry about is not even the food so much. This one. Yep, just a simple glass of water. Where's it coming from? When your power goes out, particularly in the city, even here, our well is 300 feet deep. It's electric. Law of three, just start with that. 3 minutes without air, you die. 3 days without water, you typically die. 3 weeks without food, you typically die. Good. So what happens when you can't get water? Well, then you have to learn how to sterilize water. And I'll be covering all this stuff in, upcoming. Because all these videos that I've been making in the last little bit, at the making of this video, anything I made just, recently, economic collapse stuff, is about becoming more self-reliant. If you're the type of person that think the government's got to help me, they got to save me. No, you got to start thinking more 1800s, more self-reliant. And with all the tools lying around now that we didn't have in the 1800s, okay, maybe some of them were there, but I mean, they didn't have canning like this in the 1800s. If you can learn how to do it in the 1800s, trust me, you can do it now. Even firearms, for example, I'm a big advocate of black powder firearms for hunting. But one thing that doesn't run out of gunpowder that's easy to maintain is archery. Again, I'm going to cover all this stuff in the future. But first off, don't panic about it. Just, like I say, look around your house. Just kind of take an inventory of what you have. And then maintain on that. When you buy your groceries, just, okay, well, I can only afford X, Y, Z. Well, buy stuff that stores a little bit longer. Don't just buy all canned stuff because that's you'll get sick of it. But maybe you can buy some mason jars and get some fresh vegetables and can those. Even if you grab some frozen vegetables and can them. All kinds of stuff. Reason why I like canning over freezing stuff is that, again, power goes out. A lot of, a couple of days or a week without power there, I mean, everything in your freezer is pretty much, you got to chuck it. Try to get into gardening if you can. If that becomes an issue, maybe you can hook up with, meet people. There's always strength in numbers. If people farm together in a community, say, okay, well, maybe we can rent a plot. There's all kinds of stuff. I'm in the country, so in that sense, I have it easier in a little bit, but not so much. Anybody, again, hunting, farming, this is all stuff that it's been bred out of us, and it's not easy. I mean, it's all hard work, but it's easier now than it's ever been. We're never going to have it any easier. So again, don't panic about it. It's incremental. But I'm going to do more videos on, not just the gloom and doom stuff, but what to do about it. And the key is food and water, air. Everything after that becomes a plus. I'll do a lot more like survival type videos, not so much on the bushcraft level, but on a practical level. Not as dramatic as Man versus Wild. If you do the stuff he does in the wild, you'd probably end up dead anyway. But not that I don't like his stuff. I think his stuff is great, but I think making life easier for yourself is more about how you prepare for it. And a lot of it is just all mental anyway. So anyway, rate, subscribe, post your Facebook, all that good stuff. Okay, prepping. I just got a good question. Like, somebody, bringing up the economic stuff, and I was going to kind of save this till later to make a more interesting series of videos, but you asked a really good question was, how does somebody with, like, no money start prepping? Like, how do you put food away when you can't afford it? Now, well, I guess, in simple, I mean, there is no simple answer, really. You just start doing it. I mean, you're going to buy groceries no matter what, okay? You're gonna buy whatever you eat. You're gonna buy. You're gonna buy that food all the time. But maybe instead of just buying, really fast perishable foods, split it up a bit. Maybe buy probably saying what's in there. Kind of forget, to tell you the truth. And if you really want to make it interesting, take all the labels off. Just don't mix it up with the dog food. What do we have tonight? I don't know. I can. All kidding aside, but I mean stuff like this. I mean, this might not last you 25 years, might not even last you 2 years. But as long as it's good for at least a year, And if you have enough of these ahead, times XYZ amount of people in the house, you're probably saying, yeah, but I can't afford to buy, let's say you have a family of 6 people or 5 people. I can't afford to buy enough food for all of them. Well, if you have 1 can and you are 1 person, you have a meal for 1 person. If you are 1 can and you have 6 people or 5 people or 8 people, and make no mistakes, if you in a financial collapse, you're going to find out about relatives you never had. They're coming to your place saying, hey, help me out. You're going to have, then this will be divided up amongst the people in the house. What you have is what you have. It is really that's what it is. That's what it is. So because